What is up, you guys? We are here for our Saturday night secret sermon. It's after midnight. We're here for our weekly segment entitled Secret Teachings of Jesus. I have a playlist entitled Secret Teachings of Jesus on my channel. And yeah, basically I come in after work or wherever I am on Saturday night, and I grab a portion from we've been working on the Gospel of Philip, and I will read it, or I'll skim through and find a portion that like jumps out at me and starts to speak to me, and then I will turn on Le Camera and read it to you guys and then unpack it as I'm sort of like getting downloads. So I kind of had this like curiosity and interest in reading the Gnostic Gospels, like the Nag Hammadi scriptures here and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I didn't know when I'd ever get a chance to do it and when I'd really make myself and make it a discipline. And so I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to make it a weekly segment that we do together? So I just like to give this context at the beginning. And so basically we're just reading this together. I'm not an expert. I'm not a theologian. I'm just interested in these things. I'm a Kabbalah student. I do know some symbolism and references and things like that. But otherwise, it's just something that I'm interested in. Obviously, it's funny that every video I start with this caveat. And it's specifically, literally, I'm I've never read this. So I just, this is spontaneous. And then every once in a while, most people really love this. And there's always some cowboy that sticks around, listens to it. This you need to do more research. This is the point. That's why we're here. So this is for fun. I encourage you to get your own copies and read for yourself and study for yourself. And there's other experts out there that are honed in on different nuances of the scriptures. Some people are all about language and logos. Some people are about, one translation over another. Some people are experts at different areas, So again, you can do your own research. But if you're gonna give me some finger wagging, don't bother, because I just think it's funny. And so anyway, okay, I'm brazen. I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't want to brag, but some people have actually called me dangerous. It's your last warning to leave. We're about to read some gospel. All right, y'all. Okay, enough. So we're in the Gospel of Philip, and the portion that we're on tonight is called Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now, hold on, I need to grab some water. I still have my Christmas tree up. I usually keep it up through January because it's so dark and gray, but now I'm ready to take it down, so I'm going to do that as soon as I have a chance. Okay, so sometimes these portions can get really deep and philosophical and metaphysical, and this one, some of them are more mechanical and mechanics of things, and this one's kind of mechanical. It's kind of the mechanics of things. So I think it'll be really interesting though, and informative, and it's one of those kinds of portions that we can meditate on that helps us build that structure. I know a lot of times I talk about the wisdom and secrets of Kabbalah as I'm picking up on these kind of hidden codexes and codes in these writings. Kabbalah is the blueprint of reality almost, and it's a mirror image of the Godhead and the human soul, and it's divided into these 10 dimensions of consciousness as God conceived and created the world, and also in the reverse order as we are in the lower states of consciousness as we begin to perceive the divine. So it makes this glyph that is called the Tree of Life, which we have here with heart. So we've got the tree of life here. And so a lot of times we're talking about this stuff and it's so abstract and it's so like far out there that it's hard to start understanding. And that's normal, right? The first book I ever read on Kabbalah was written by Dion Fortune in the 1930s, and it was really complex, and it was called The Mystic Kabbalah, I think. And it was like so thick and dense that I could read like one page and I would fall asleep, and I would have to read that page like 5 times. And I have read that book like 5 times per page, probably like 5 times through. And it took a really long time for it to start not being like a whole nother language and so foreign and so out there and so abstract, until finally one day it just clicked and you're just like, oh yeah, and it just becomes second nature. So don't feel like this is intimidating. Just let it sink in. Okay, so this is that tree of life. This is the map. These are the dimensions of reality and the dimensions of consciousness and the different governing forces of the cosmos. Each dimension is a kind of a root level of energy that creates the universe. And when you think about like white light being shown through a prism and then it's diffracted into each unique hue, so too are these essences. And so all of creation can be kind of grouped down and categorized and associated with these dimensions. And so with each dimension, there are associated planets and angels and names of God and elements and all kinds of things. And so you start to learn that layer and layer and layer. But then there's also these groupings of these spherot that are also grouped into different kinds of associations, including the levels of the soul, the human soul. So just keeping that in mind, I think that will help as we read this portion, because it's going to start building, like the more we kind of circle back to this map, it kind of starts to fill itself out and make more sense over time. And and this is probably, I don't know if it might be lesser or more abstract to someone who doesn't study Kabbalah at all, because I think sometimes when you don't study something at all, it's easy to just take in a concept without kind of straining against it and wrestling with it, and then you just sort of like intuitively kind of get it, you know? I don't know. Okay, so our portion, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Father, in quotation, and Son, in quotation, are simple names. Holy Spirit, in quotation, is a double name. They are everywhere, above and below, and in the hidden and in the visible. The Holy Spirit is in the visible, and then it is below. And the Holy Spirit is in the hidden, and then it is above. I'm going to read this a couple more times until it doesn't sound so choppy. Recalculating. I'm a natural human. Okay, so Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Father and Son are simple names. Holy Spirit is a double name. They are everywhere, above and below, in the hidden and in the visible. The Holy Spirit is in the visible, and then it is below. And the Holy Spirit is in the hidden, and then it is above. Okay, so it's like they're talking about one thing, and then it seems like they go, and then they're talking about a whole nother thing, and you're just like, what what are we talking about? Why are we like putting so much emphasis on like just talking about the names being what, like, why draw attention to this? Okay, so from what I have learned about like the way that names are constructed, and sometimes given like double emphasis, like sometimes the name is repeated, or sometimes someone's name is changed, or sometimes it's a two-parter. Sometimes the letters are interchanged because each Hebrew letter has its own numerical value. And so the value of the letters and of their combined value in the words has relevance and meaning. And so that's why I think it's really, I want a Hebrew version of the Bible, a translation of the Bible, so that I know the exact Hebrew word that it was meant to be, because they're very particularly chosen. The words, the wording, and the spelling of the word when it's spelled. So, keeping that in mind, also so little side note, there is a website for Hillsdale College, and you can make like your own profile just with like your email address. It's for free, but you can take all these really fun classes through Hillsdale College. They're like on-demand courses, and they're like beautifully filmed in these really neat settings, like the old romantic looking classrooms and like interesting backgrounds. But anyway, so these professors, they give these interesting like 101 kind of courses in all these different subjects, like literature, history, philosophy, economics, like different stuff. But it's just like a smattering of what you might get if you were like in college there. But it's just like if you were like an adult, you just want to sit in on a class and like not have to take the tests and stuff. But it's in video, and it's like in these short spurts. And I don't know, the last one I left off with was like I was watching a course on Dante's Divine Inferno. But nonetheless, the first class that I took was a literature class on Genesis. And it was taking you through some of the more poignant stories of Genesis through the lens of literature. And through the literary lens, when a name is doubled, like when like God says Moses, Moses, or Abraham, Abraham, if he has like a double name, then, or when they're the writers of the Bible are making those double names, like it's a double emphasis. It's adding extra emphasis on to that name. Now, sometimes when there's a double emphasis on a name, it is because God is communicating an officializing of a covenant between him and that individual. Or it might signify intimacy or closeness between the characters in question. But from a Kabbalistic perspective, when someone is given a double name, or they're given like a change to their name, it's a sign that they have an elevation of their soul happening. Or like a shedding of their darkness and an awakening of their internal light. And so when as we go through phases, we go through certain ages where we get another level of our soul. We don't have our full complete package downloaded yet. We have upgrades, like, how we upgrade our software, we upgrade our soul. So we'll have like yearly upgrades that are, normal and cyclical, but then like there are certain like particular ages that you get to where you get different levels of your soul. And like, for instance, when kids get bar mitzvahed or bat mitzvahed, that is age 12 for girls and 13 for boys, because girls are smarter than boys. And we are born with more of, like, with the complete wisdom just like packed in. We already have the software. It just isn't necessarily activated in our conscious memory, right? But nevertheless, we digress. So, according to the Kabbalah, we get these downloaded parts of our soul at certain ages. But in addition to ages, like, we go at a certain point, we start to get these levels as we earn them. And so we get the basic package, but then we have to get like upgraded to upgrade, to righteous souls. We have to reveal that light through our devotion, through our practice, through our shedding and breaking of our negativity and transmuting that into higher consciousness and more compassion and more understanding, right? And it changes us. It's not enough to be wise. It's not enough to have the information. It has to take root in you and change your heart and change your soul and awaken you and reveal that light that's already there. So when, like, the prophets and the sages in the Bible are said, when you start to see their names are like doubled, like Moses, that can also mean that they have received that higher level of the soul and they are a righteous soul. So on this tree here, this is us down here in the material, like, incarnate, physical world of the flesh. Everything up here is the non-physical and everything that happens before we are physicalized in the material realm down here. So everything up here is referred to as like the upper realms. And this is where our heavenly hosts preside. And then we are in the lower realms here. So let's go back to the portion. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Father and Son are simple names. Holy Spirit is a double name. Now, also a double name, I think we said this, but can indicate intimacy between an individual. Okay, so Father and Son are simple names. Those are also masculine names. And the Holy Spirit is a feminine. And on the tree here, you have the primordial point here, and you have, oh my gosh, that's so funny, because right here where the light would be coming in, piercing for the first time, there's a hole in the map where the light is coming through. It's interesting. So we've pierced the veil, people. So here we have Keter, that this is like the most abstract, whole, united form of the light. Everything is encompassed in the white, pure light here. It penetrates through the unmanifest into the manifest at this point, and it becomes a straight line of absolute dynamism and energy and fire. And that is the divine masculine, Chokmah. But this has no container. It has no form. It's just absolute, unadulterated chaos. So the Creator, in order to be able to share this overflowing of light and energy, needed a vessel, needed an other to share with. So that is how the feminine became the container, the womb of all creation. So the divine, so we've got the supernal masculine, which is known as Abba. the supernal father of the cosmos. And then we have Binah, who is the divine feminine and supernal mother of the cosmos, the womb of the cosmos, the vessel. All right. So there is this trinity here with the ultimate, the father, who's depicted as like abstract, but symbolized as a king inside profile whose face you can never fully see straight on. Then we have the masculine here, which is the wise king seated on his throne. You have the feminine here. So with the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, you have the masculine, and the Holy Spirit, which is the feminine. Then there is a reference to the Shina, which I not 100% sure if this is like the soul of God, the light of God as it is shown upon the humanity, the way that we interact with it, the way that it protects us and provides, and that's a feminine energy. And so I sometimes think of that as interchangeable with the Holy Spirit, but don't quote me on that. Don't be up in my comments. Give me sass. Okay, so where were we? So it's interesting. The Holy Spirit is in us, and we are in the Holy Spirit because we are in the feminine. Like, we have our being within the womb of creation, so we are in that, but then that Holy Spirit is also in us too, which is like being out, without, and within at the same time. Whereas the Father is all encompassing, and it gives birth to the Son, which is physically expressed and born in this kingdom, in the physical kingdom, like we are physically manifest. But the Holy Spirit is something that we are in and is also in us as well. Father and Son are simple names. Holy Spirit is a double name. They are everywhere, above and below, in the hidden and in the visible. Now, there is a footnote here referring to the use of they, because we said here it says Father and Son are simple names, Holy Spirit is a double name. They are everywhere, above and below, in the hidden and in the visible. So what do they mean by they? And this is what the footnote says. This may be a reference to the Father and the Son, in contrast to the Spirit mentioned next. Or it may be a reference to the Spirit, or even to Father, Son, and Spirit together. Like, they don't know. It could be all of them. But I think it is all of them, honestly. Like, I think that it is referring to the Father and the Son and the Spirit together. And I think it's referring to the Spirit. And you know how, like, the queen is multiple, like she's we, you know? Well, I think in a way, the Holy Spirit is they, because it is the spirit of the Father and the Son, but it is a feminine. So it's like, it's almost like both, you know. And then there's some, like, these spherots, some of them are masculine, some of them are feminine, but some of them are hermaphroditic, both. I don't know how to say that word correctly. So, so they are everywhere, above and below, in the hidden and in the visible. So, the Holy Spirit is above and below. So is the Father and the Son. The interesting thing about the way the light comes in and goes down this path, it's called sort of like Plinko, but it goes like a lightning bolt. And as the light spills over into the next, it's like all of them contain whatever comes above them, right? So each of them contains everything that came before them. All the essences are present from everything gets a taste of the other. So they are everywhere, above, below, in the hidden, and in the visible. So this is the above, and it is the hidden. We can't see this. This is the non-physical. This is the non, like tangible. We can't touch, feel, taste this. This we can see in our dreams, and it's in the astral realm. We can see visions and dreams and in our imagination. But so we can see here, but this is we can't see these things. We can't even perceive them visibly with the visual, almost. So those are the hidden and the invisible. And then this would be the lower, below, and the visible. So it says the Holy Spirit is in the visible, and then it is below. So it's in the visible, and then it is below, the Holy Spirit. It's down here with us, and it is below, in the visible. And the Holy Spirit is in the hidden. It is hidden, and then it is above. Now, the Father is here, all the way up here in the source of all that gives birth to everything it is, that is. The Christ is here, Tiferet, which is also associated with the heart chakra here. Now we come down here, and the Christ is born as the Son and is physicalized as the Son of Man, right? And so are we, the Son, like we are the physical manifest down here. So we are in the lower, and we are physical, and we are with the Son, brothers and sisters of the Son. Father is here in the non-physical, in the abstract, being the source and the seed and the giver and the creator of all that is. But the Holy Spirit is everywhere. It's in the lower and in the upper. And we can see the Spirit in the physical through the ways that the Spirit moves through our life and through situations. We can recognize when the Spirit is there, and we can see the result of the Spirit's influence. And we can see the Spirit working through each other, right? And they say that the Holy Spirit comes as a white dove too, and that might be the physical, form of that Holy Spirit when it is takes physical form, right? So let's read this portion, I think, one more time, and I think that's all we have to talk about it today. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Father and Son are simple names. Holy Spirit is a double name. They are everywhere, above and below, in the hidden and in the visible. Oh, and so earlier we were talking about how a righteous soul gets downloads a higher aspect of their soul. It's like we have the a limited ability to fully be embodying all of these consciousnesses in their full capacity, but we do kind of connect with them and awaken these aspects of wisdom within us, right? And so a righteous soul would be kind of activating these upper realms of wisdom and getting the higher aspects of the soul downloading into their system, into their operating system. So Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Father and Son are simple names. Holy Spirit is a double name. They are everywhere, above and below, in the hidden and in the visible. The Holy Spirit is in the visible, and then it is below. And the Holy Spirit is in the hidden, and then it is above. So, visible, below, invisible, hidden, upper realms. All right. Sleepy times, hungry times. All right, y'all. I hope this serves you well. I hope you enjoy. I hope you'll stick around and subscribe and like this and comment if it's not stating something. It's just oy 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 vey. All right, much love. Godspeed. Tomorrow we will be back for our weekly energy oracle forecast. Yay! Where we will be taking a look at the week ahead to see how the kind of like energetic weather we will be having, what the spiritual weather we will be having. And then also, I think that you would be remiss if you didn't deeply consider downloading the 2025 prediction series. It's really amazing. It's $10, so I think that's pretty approachable. It's going to be a yearly overview. You have like seasonal, quarterly breakdowns, and monthly readings. And so with each video, you will have a few little journal questions that will help you workshop the themes of that season, get a good idea of like what do you want your consciousness to be like this year, and then you'll have those monthly questions that'll really help you workshop life through the week. All right, and that link is below. It'll be in my Stan store. You should probably use Chrome to check out in that Stan store, Chrome browser. All right, ciao.